What's up, you guys, and welcome to another episode of the Variety Views. I'm your host, the Variety Vendor. Last we left off on the previous episode of rebuilding or rebooking the end of, the era of punk. Um, we were talking about SummerSlam 2012. And the matches that I had, the key matches were Brock Lesnar versus CM Punk. With if Punk wins, he becomes general manager moving forward, and if he loses, Paul Heyman is the new Raw general manager. And also, another match on that show would be Daniel Bryan versus John Cena rematch from Raw 1000. And of course, Cena won the title at Raw 1000, and Brock turned on CM Punk, and that's why we're here at SummerSlam 2012. So these two key matches were the main events of SummerSlam 2013. So I'm bumping it back to SummerSlam 2012, and I would have Daniel Bryan defeat Cena to regain the WWE Championship. And because the whole idea of Raw 1000 Cena winning the championship is because I wanted it to be like this monumental thing, event for people to remember and be like, oh, remember that thing that happened at Raw 1000? Holy shit, that was a great show. Raw 1000 was a great show regardless, but I think that would add so much to it because I think Raw 1000, the one thing that it was lacking was that one great match that you would look back upon. I think the closest thing was probably Christian versus Cody Rhodes. I think Christian had a match with Cody Rhodes, or was it Christian versus The Miz? I can't remember, but there was an Intercontinental title match that I remember I really liked. There were a lot of angles on that show, and it was really cool. But I think that it was missing that one great match, and I think Cena and Bryan would have delivered at that. So then at SummerSlam, you would do the rematch. Bryan wins the WWE title back, and Brock Lesnar would defeat CM Punk. Thus, Paul Heyman is now the new Raw General Manager. You'd go to Night of Champions. Curtis Axel defeats CM Punk to retain his Intercontinental title, and that's the thing that I had a problem with is that Curtis Axel was not a bad choice in being Paul Heyman's guy. I think the problem was the fact that he would lose every week to guys like Punk. And there's no problem, of him losing to a guy like Punk, but it's just that he shouldn't be doing that every week. And I think the Intercontinental title being on the line would have made much more sense because it was Night of Champions, not Curtis Axel facing Kofi Kingston and then facing Punk later on in the night. It didn't make any sense. Just do Punk versus Axel for the Intercontinental title. Axel goes over Punk because of outside interference from Paul Heyman. And Darren Bryan retains the WWE title against John Cena, so you end that feud. And at Hell in a Cell, you do Daniel Bryan versus The Miz for the WWE title, and I think it works inside Hell in a Cell because they've been feuding on and off for the past 2 years, so it works. It works anytime to put a gimmick match in there, because they've had a blood feud. And also Curtis Axel versus CM Punk inside Hell in a Cell. Curtis Axel goes over because of Ryback. Ryback comes in, breaks the cell door, gets in there, and helps Curtis Axel go over CM Punk. So it's kind of like Kane's debut a little bit, and also I think it would make sense to have it in Hell in a Cell because of outside interference. Not just that, but it's also it would be monumental because there's that word again, monumental. I think that it would work also because it would be the first ever Hell in a Cell match to have the Intercontinental title on the line. So there you go, more history to that. Curtis Axel going over adds more, credibility to him and the Intercontinental title. You go to Survivor Series, Team Heyman, Ryback, Curtis Axel, Brock Lesnar, and The Miz and Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman's like, I'm so confident in my team, in the 4 people in my team, that I'm going to put myself in that match because I know that we were going to win. Also on the other team is CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Kane, John Cena, and Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler will turn babyface because everybody loved him at this point, so might as well just run with it. And you would have Team Heyman go over because of a debuting Shield. The Shield would help out Team Heyman go over by the final guys would be Curtis Axel and Daniel Bryan, and Curtis Axel would pin Daniel Bryan at the end. The Intercontinental Champion pinning the WWE Champion. Thus, you would go to TLC where Daniel Bryan faces Curtis Axel, champion versus champion. Now that works, okay? That's a big match. You've built up Curtis Axel to the point where, he would be believable in the main event, but not to the point where he would be champion. So Bryan would go over Axel. Ryback would beat Kane in a good, big man versus big man match. And also, the Shield would defeat CM Punk, Dolph Ziggler, and John Cena. Punk, of course, he was injured at the time, so you can have somebody in his place, a guy like, Zack Ryder, where, Punk is like, come on, show me. I know you can do this. I believe in you. Don't, I think that, I think you have what it takes to go up against the Shield. If not, Zack Ryder, a guy that he would pluck out of obscurity. A guy like Cassius Ohno, the guy who was supposed to be in the Shield, the original Shield. So you could have him be in Punk's place to face off against the Shield. The Shield would go over, of course, but the idea was to make stars out of the Shield and Dolph Ziggler and Cassius Ohno. And I think that, them going forward, those five guys would be the future of WWE. Then we go on to 2013. CM Punk makes his big return at the Royal Rumble, in the Royal Rumble match, and he wins the Rumble. And from then on, and the idea was like at the end of 2012, Punk would be taken out by the Shield. He gets, triple power bombed on the table, so you don't see him for a little bit until Royal Rumble. Comes in there as a surprise entrant, wins the Rumble. Also, Daniel Bryan would lose the WWE title to Brock Lesnar at Royal Rumble, and goes on to WrestleMania, where Punk finally beats Lesnar, and he avenges his loss from SummerSlam 2012. So now you've come back full circle from Punk going for the championship to now him chasing the championship, and now he is the number one guy yet again. So now you've brought back Punk to brought back Punk to the top, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. That was, I guess it was part 4, right? Am I right? I think it was part 4. So let me know what you thought about this. And I guess that's pretty much it. And I will continue this all the way to WrestleMania 30, because that is the goal. That is the goal for of mine. And maybe the next part would be like that entire thing. But if not, then we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So or maybe I'll just break it down to 2 parts. So that's pretty much it. And rate, comment, favorite, happily subscribe, and share with your friends. Share with everybody. And check out my next video. I'll be talking about something else.